What on earth? I can't believe this is real. This changes everything.
My name is Dr. Elias Thorne. For 23 years, my world has been a climate-controlled, windowless basement in Arlington, Virginia. I'm a senior data archivist for the Pentagon. Sounds important, I know. In reality, my job is to catalog and secure the digital ghosts of forgotten military projects, black projects, Cold War failures, things they wanted filed away and left to collect digital dust. I'm a cynic by trade, a skeptic by profession. The world of conspiracy theorists who think the government is hiding aliens in bunkers? My job was to prove they were all wrong. I've seen every report on every crash, every failed missile test, every unexplained radar anomaly. It's all just data, with a logical, if sometimes boring, explanation. Until last Tuesday, my boss, a man who communicates exclusively through memos and grunts, called me into his office. He handed me a single file. Project Icefall, it read. The clearance level was higher than anything I had ever seen. "You're going to Antarctica, Thorne," he said, his voice flat. UNIDA, a new scientific team, has reopened a long-abandoned research station. We have reason to believe there's a legacy system there. Old data from an atmospheric study. Your job is to fly in, retrieve it, and bring it back. Protocol dictates it can't be transmitted electronically. He made it sound routine, a simple retrieval of obsolete data. But his eyes, for a flicker of a second, held a deep, profound fear I had never seen in him before. He never used the words Area 51 or aliens, but the unspoken weight of his words, the sheer absurdity of the mission, and the terrifying look in his eyes, I knew this wasn't about a Cold War atmospheric study. I was being sent to the coldest, most isolated place on Earth to retrieve a secret that was buried not just under ice, but under decades of lies. The flight to Antarctica was a blur of roaring turbines and the stark, unsettling beauty of endless white. The scientific team at Outpost Cerberus, a skeleton crew recently reactivated, was a mix of bewildered geologists and nervous technicians. They knew as little as I did about Project Icefall, only that a high-level Pentagon rep was coming to retrieve some old data. The abandoned section of the base, a relic from the late 1980s buried deeper under the ice, felt like stepping into a time capsule. Frozen equipment, half-eaten rations, personal belongings, scattered as if the occupants had vanished in an instant. A chilling stillness permeated the air, a silence that felt heavier than the crushing weight of the ice above. The legacy system was located in a sublevel, accessible only through a massive, manually operated blast door that groaned open like a tomb. Inside, rows of antiquated servers blinked with a ghostly, intermittent power. Dust lay thick, undisturbed for decades. It took hours to locate the primary data storage unit, a heavy metallic cylinder that looked more like a Cold War-era bomb than a hard drive. As I worked to carefully detach it, I noticed something etched on the side, almost hidden beneath the grime. A series of strange, non-standard symbols, unlike any language I recognized. And then a faint sound, almost imperceptible beneath the hum of the resurrected generators, a low, resonant thrumming that seemed to emanate from deep within the ice itself. It wasn't mechanical. It felt organic, and it was getting closer. The thrumming intensified, no longer a subtle vibration, but a deep, resonant hum that permeated the entire abandoned sublevel. The antiquated servers around me flickered erratically, their ghostly lights dancing in time with the pulse. The air grew colder, a biting chill that seeped through my thermal gear. And then I started to hear things. Not through my ears, not exactly. It was like thoughts, raw emotions being projected directly into my mind. Fear, confusion, a profound sense of loss. They weren't my emotions. They were echoes, lingering psychic imprints in the ice, in the very fabric of this forgotten place. Clutching the data cylinder, I felt a growing unease. The strange symbols etched on its surface seemed to vibrate in my hand, almost alive. As I focused on them, the mental whispers intensified, coalescing into fragmented images. Blurry figures in bulky suits, panicked faces illuminated by harsh, flickering lights, and glimpses of something else. Something tall and slender, with large, dark eyes that radiated an ancient sorrow. I had to get out of there. This wasn't just old data. This place was a psychic graveyard. The scientific team topside was trying to reach me on the comms, their voices crackling with static and concern. "Thorn, report! We're getting seismic anomalies deep below. Are you all right?" Seismic anomalies? The thrumming wasn't just in my head. The ice itself was reacting to something. I secured the data cylinder, its cold middle radiating an unsettling energy, and started to make my way back to the blast door, the whispers in my mind growing louder, more insistent, pleading. The whispers in my mind had escalated into a full chorus, a cacophony of despair, fear, and desperate pleas. These were the lingering thoughts of those who had worked here before me. Their panic was so palpable, it felt like I was suffocating, even though the air in the sublevel was cold and clean. Clutching the data cylinder, I realized it wasn't just a storage device. It was a trauma recorder, holding the final moments of the researchers' lives. Suddenly, the thrumming from beneath the ice shifted. It adopted a new rhythm, one that sparked a flicker of recognition from my deep dives into old Pentagon archives. It was a technical signal, a language of its own. Instinctively, I connected the cylinder to a dusty, ancient terminal. The screen, dormant for decades, flickered to life, displaying chaotic streams of data resolving into graphs and schematics. These weren't just files. They were decrypted mental contacts, testimonies describing encounters with tall, slender beings in unusual glowing suits, communicating not through sound, but through direct thought transfer. This was all part of a clandestine operation codenamed Project Icefall. Its objective? To study mysterious objects moving deep beneath the Antarctic ice. Objects that weren't hostile, but dormant, perhaps for millennia. And the team stationed here had found a way to awaken them. I scrolled through camera logs, witnessing the initial contact, meant to be peaceful, but something went horribly wrong. Then came recordings detailing the psychic influence on the team, their descent into paranoia, their transformation into terrified mental patients. Their whispers weren't echoes of the past, but thoughts trapped in time. The thrumming beneath the ice, now making terrifying sense, seemed to be a beacon, searching for those who had stirred, seeking to re-establish connection. And the only one receiving it now was me. My simple retrieval mission had morphed into a horrifying discovery. I wasn't just an archivist anymore. I was the only one who knew what truly lay sleeping beneath the ice.